How much do you want to pay for the NFL and college football season? You decide how much you want to save. Right now, WagerTalk is offering their lowest price for the 2021 NFL and college football seasons. From now through the start of the regular season, we are offering special early bird pricing, but these prices will increase by $20 per sport and $30 for the college football and NFL combo every week until the season kicks off. Save up to $200 this week by buying your favorite WagerTalk capper for the package, and remember, the longer you wait, the less you save.
All right, welcome in. Happy Friday, July the 16th. Can't believe it, 2021. Time for another edition of the Pony Pundits as we get ready here on WagerTalk.com to talk about the Haskell. We're going to go to Monmouth Park, if you can believe it. Yes, they still race at Monmouth Park. That's going to be Saturday, July the 17th. Let us welcome in the pundits here. And we want to welcome in, filling in for Marco D'Angelo, who had an emergency meeting at Del Mar, apparently, and he couldn't make the show today. So straight from the sauna, Sean Alvarez has decided to swing in and help us out. So, Sean, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Thank you for filling in for Marco. And Sig, what's going on, my friend? Always a pleasure to see you as well. And I know you've been excited because you got Saratoga on your mind, don't you?
Oh, yeah, Joe. It was like yesterday was like Christmas morning with Saratoga being opening day here, and we're in day 2 of the meet right now, currently going on. But my normal co-host in here, or normal co-pundit, Marco, is at Del Mar today for opening day. I'm very jealous. And he just posted pictures of some fillies, and not the kind on 4 legs, on his Twitter feed. So make sure you guys check that out.
Yeah, one of them looked a lot like Dave Koken, but that's a whole different story in itself over there. So no problem. The fact that you used the word normal and Marco in the same situation was interesting. But we got the Haskell to talk about, and of course we'll break this down. It is Saturday's $1 million Grade 1 Haskell Stakes at Monmouth Park. Obviously, 3-year-olds is what we have in mind. And Sean, before we start taking a look at these, the entries, talk to us, my friend. You are the go-to guy for Pony Pundits when it comes into fill in for Marco and or Sig. We certainly appreciate it. And I know it was a rough week for you. You live in Vegas. You had to spend time at Circa. I know it's killing you. You had to spend some time there, but how you been, man? And what about horse racing? Talk to us about what you've been looking at right about now.
Yeah, it was definitely it was a rough week, but somebody had to do it. And it's like Sig was saying, we get Saratoga starts yesterday, we get Del Mar starting today, we got the Haskell tomorrow. I mean, it's definitely a great time to be sitting here, betting on the races. I'm a little jealous of Marco, but I get to sit here and handicap some stuff with you guys.
Yeah, well, the good news is, since you're here, Sean, this show should only take about 4 minutes. So here we go, guys. We're going to dive in to the 54th Haskell, which, by the way, will be aired NBC, 5 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. I believe the broadcast will go. 5:47 should be when the post time is. But let's dive into this field and take a look at the entries as we have 7 horses here, guys. 7 horses to take a look at, and I'm just going to take a stab here and say that we're going to start like we normally do. We'll go over each horse, say a little something, and get your thoughts on them. I'm going to guess I'm going to go with you first, Sig. Is that okay?
That sounds good to me, Joe.
All right, there you go. I mean, if Marco's not here, you might as well take advantage of it. All right, let's talk about following C. 3-1 morning line here. We've got Todd Pletcher. We've got Joel Rosario. What else do we need to know here, Sig?
Well, Joe, this one horse following C is out of Run Happy, who was a very successful racehorse and is doing pretty well so far in the breeding shed. He's going to be making his second start for the Pletcher barn. He was in the Bob Baffert barn, and he transferred to the Pletcher barn following breaking his maiden back in April. He did one race here for Pletcher at Belmont back early in June, and It was an allowance. He finished first in that by more than 6 lengths. But what I found impressive about that race was that reinvestment risk, who was out of the Chad Brown barn, was in that race as well. And he was on the Derby Trail earlier this year. He finished third in that race. So it was a pretty impressive performance. What does concern me about this colt, other than the move from Baffert to Pletcher, which I told you guys many times, I've been a little bit wary about horses making their first start out of the Baffert barn. But this colt looked really nice in that allowance back at Belmont in June. But he is making the move from sprinting. He's only raced at 6 and 6.5 furlongs so far to go in the 9 furlong route tomorrow here in the Haskell here. So he's also running without Lasix tomorrow in the stakes race. So it's going to be a little bit interesting. I like this horse. I think he's on the right track here. And I do also like the fact that Joel Rosario is skipping the day at Saratoga tomorrow and racing. He has, I think, probably 5 or 6 mounts at Monmouth tomorrow. They have a total of 5 stakes races on their card. So that's a good sign for this horse here. I'm not using him on top, but I will be using him underneath here. I think he's going to be the early speed, and him and Hot Rod Charlie are probably going to lock up early and make a race out of this.
Yeah, and he's got to prove it from the rail, right, in this draw for this race here. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen here with number 1. We'll move on to number 2. And boy, oh boy, it's like Marco never left. 30-1, Antigravity, Sean. I know you've been scouring over the paperwork on this horse because I know you got something for us here. Antigravity, probably anti-winning, but talk to us. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this horse is, interesting horse, trained and owned by Jerry Hollendorf for $15,000 sire fee. Bought it for $4,000. Just seems like he's in over his head. I really don't know what he's doing in this field. Maybe Jerry's just trying to pick up a check and stay out of California. I'm not really sure. I don't see how this horse even splits the back half of the field. Took 11 races to get that through the maiden, and then goes into an optional claiming 16K. And now we're in the Grade 1 Haskell. I just don't understand what this horse is doing in the field other than maybe filling a spot.
Yeah, well, that's if it's a fast pace. We'll see what happens here. He's going to hang out in the middle, I'm sure. But it may not matter as we move on to number 3 here, guys. And Sig, I'll come back to you as we take a look at Mandaloun, 2-1. Drew, and of course, Brad Cox here. And we've talked about this horse a lot over the last couple of months. 2-1. Talk to us about Mandaloun.
Yeah, Joe, well, it's not official yet, but we all know that this Brad Cox trainee is still in line to be named your Kentucky Derby winner when the dust settles with them Medina Spirit DQ for failing those multiple drug tests. He's very familiar with the horses he's going to see here as he was on that Fairgrounds Derby Trail. He's got Hot Rod Charlie and Midnight Bourbon both in his past performances here. And that was, in my opinion, that was probably the toughest way to get to the Kentucky Derby this year was through that Fairgrounds route. All those horses took turns winning. Midnight Bourbon won in the Lecomte. Mandaloun won the Risen Star, and then Hot Rod Charlie won the Louisiana Derby and went on to give us one hell of a performance in the Belmont Stakes. But I know Sean's going to get a chance to talk about that here next. While he did win here last month with Mandaloun, it was in the Pegasus Stakes, and it wasn't the dominant performance that people expected. He went off at way less than even money at the window, and pretty much he had to get a heck of a race out of him in order to get the win there in the Pegasus Stakes. He beat a couple of horses that were on the lower side of the top 3-year-olds in Wayburn and Dr. Jack. And I'm not sure he's going to be ready to fire. I mean, I know Cox always has his horses ready to fire here, but he hasn't had the ability to race against Hot Rod Charlie or Midnight Bourbon since the Kentucky Derby here. And I'm not really sure. I mean, I know Mandaloun's going to take a lot of interest here at the windows, but I'm looking elsewhere.
Yeah, Midnight Bourbon has not won since that Lecomte, so it'll be an interesting battle here. And you mentioned it, number 4, Hot Rod Charlie here, 6-5 morning line, Sean. Hot Rod Charlie, a lot of folks still disappointed with their tickets on Hot Rod Charlie. What do you think, though? Chances that this horse takes it and runs away with it?
Yeah, I mean, and Sig had kind of mentioned that earlier about, a little bit of a pace scenario, and especially that, I mean, just a huge effort at the Belmont, going 46 and change, going a mile and a half, and digging in the way that he did really showed to me, that this horse was, a grade one type of horse that we're going to see hopefully, grow into even more potential. What I love about this horse and just in this spot is Flavian staying aboard. I really don't think we're going to see the speed duel, because one of my favorite things about Flavian is that even if he's on a speed horse, he doesn't tend to get into those speed duels. Kind of gets his horse to relax and will sit back and even just be able to kind of do something that horse hasn't shown previously. So I think we're looking at a big effort from Hot Rod Charlie. I don't think we're going to see, much of a bounce. It's Doug O'Neill. He shipped over from, went back to Santa Anita, shipped back over here. I could see a big effort from Hot Rod Charlie tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, and this was crazy too. Fastest first quarter mile in Belmont Stakes history, and the fastest first half mile since Secretariat, and he finished second. We do want to let you know also, I believe the blinkers are coming off on this. Is that correct? He had blinkers on at the Belmont. I think the blinkers are coming off here. So they got some horses in this race. Going to be very interesting. Not so much for number 5, picking time here, Sig. So we'll go ahead and let you tell us what you think about Kelly Breen trained picking time at 20-1.
Well, Joe, I got to defer to Marco on this one. I don't do horses less than 10-1. Picking time. Yeah, the Colt had 3 wins as a 2-year-old, but hasn't put anything together so far. In 3-year-old, he's made 2 starts here, finishing fourth in the Mucho Macho Man, and 7th in the Jersey Derby in May here at Monmouth. While his works have been fast here, he's a horse that seems to find trouble coming out of the gate. And there's way too much early speed in this field to spot the field basically any space at the gate here. So I don't think he's really got much of a chance in here. I think Kelly Breen's getting this horse in better shape, looking at those workouts and so forth, but I don't see him being a factor in this spot, and I am tossing him.
Getting rid of picking time, which leads us here, Sean, to number 6, Midnight Bourbon, 9-2. Paco Lopez, Steve Asmussen. This name should absolutely be very familiar to a lot of folks. Mandaloun, Midnight Bourbon, Hot Rod Charlie. What do you think of the 9-2 opening line here for Midnight Bourbon?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's probably the better price that we're going to get on the shorter priced horses outside of Pickin' Time and anti not going to use that horse. So I do think you're going to see a little bit of money. That line may come down. What's really interesting for this horse is we're coming back off the layoff. Going into the Preakness, that was his 5th start of the year from January. I think the horse was exhausted. I think we're going to see a better effort. But what I really like about this horse, and I'm not going to use him on top, but we don't get whips at Monmouth Park, and Paco Lopez has been riding there the whole time. So you kind of get that feel, that idea of trying to get the most out of your horse without being able to use the stick that you're using at Saratoga and Del Mar and Santa Anita and whatnot. Definitely think the horse is interesting to use. Going to be forwardly placed. The horse likes to be up near the front, but we see other horses, maybe other classier horses that are going to be up in the front too. So I'm not sure he's going to be around the wire when the winner crosses, but it's definitely an interesting horse to use underneath.
Yeah, it's all 3 guys, Hot Rod Charlie, Mandaloun, Midnight Bourbon. We're talking about runner-up in all 3 of the Triple Crown races, Sig. So I don't know what the hell you're going to do at number 7. Basso at 30-1. I think, honestly, Sean could run faster in this race here. So what do you think of number 7 at 30-1?
Well, first, guys, don't get this horse confused with either Bezos or Obesos, who are both better 3-year-olds than Basso right now. Guys, I know we're going to have a little foreshadowing here as we're going to get to the selections next, but I think both Sean and I are going to agree this is a 4-horse race, even though there are 7 horses entered in here. And frankly, Basso does not belong in this $1 million race here. He's done nothing to note since breaking his maiden here last August. He's a local product, but his familiarity with the track is not going to solve the lack of class he's going to display against some of the top 3-year-olds in training right now. I think really the biggest question here is which of the three long shots in here are going to finish last in the Haskell. And it's tough to figure. It's easier to pick a winner, I think, than pick a loser in this one.
It's going to be a very interesting card. I can't wait to see what you guys have here with the Haskell tomorrow at, shall we say, a race that might determine how good or maybe how bad this year's crop of 3-year-olds are. I think we're going to figure it out because you don't have any Medina Spirit. We got no Rumbauer, right? No Essential Quality. We've got the 3 horses that chase them pretty much in their races in the Triple Crown. So, Sean, I'm going to come to you first here, my friend. And again, I want to thank you for filling in for Marco today, who had that emergency meeting at Del Mar as he's right there at the finish line snapping photos right now, which is very, very important stuff. So, Sean, go ahead. Talk to us here, my friend. What does your card look like here for tomorrow's Haskell Stakes?
Yeah, so and I kind of mentioned it with the jockeys not having the stick. The last thing I want is to not be rooting for my jockey to urge my horse to catch up to the field. So I'm looking at the horses that are going to be towards the front, and start at the rail following C. All the horse wants to do is run straight to the front. You're going to get that rail, that early run. So I'm looking at him to set the early pace, and I kind of alluded to it earlier as well. The other pace pressure that I see in the race is the 4 Hot Rod Charlie. We talked about, the fastest Belmont opening halves in Secretariat, but at the same time, I don't think Flavian's going to sit in that speed duel. I don't think he wants to try and hold people off. So I think he's going to sit off, and we might get a little bit of an easier lead. Not necessarily an easy lead, but maybe a length, half a length, where, the number 1 following C, while Hot Rod Charlie will be sitting off the flank, all you want to keep those horses out of your horse's eyes. Get them to relax, make it feel like it's the morning, and we're just going to go along for a little jog, and hopefully nobody catches up. So those are kind of the 2 that I'm using on top. And I don't want to be sitting there hoping that Florent Giroux can urge Mandaloun to catch up. So, and with the last race being at Monmouth and the Pegasus, he did win. He closed it out, and a win's a win. But it wasn't that impressive. Didn't look like he was really mowing anybody down. And now, in my opinion, we're seeing a better field with classier horses that he's going to have to try and catch. So I'm going to use Mandaloun underneath, and then hopefully get a little bit of a better price with Midnight Bourbon underneath as well. Sig had mentioned it earlier. It's about a 4-horse race. I think it's going to be a jockey's race. So maybe Paco Lopez can spice something up underneath for me.
All right, he's going with the pace setter up at the top there, following C there. Sig, what is your card? It better not be Basso on there, I'll tell you that right now. So what do you got going on, Sig? What's your card look like?
Well, Joe, I pretty much agreed with the morning line maker here. If you guys take a look at my selections, I hate to pick chalk, but it happens occasionally. Hot Rod Charlie, I didn't get the chance to talk about him. He was one of Sean's horses. He may have finished second in the Belmont Stakes, but you can ask anybody that watches horse racing. He was the most impressive horse that day, and I really think he has a chance. It's going to be his chance to shine and make his case for being one of the top 3-year-olds in the country, and make his case for an Eclipse Award this year as the top 3-year-old in the Haskell here. I went with Mandaloun second. He's consistent other than that Louisiana Derby where he finished 6th. He's finished first or second almost every one of his races here. I like following the C. I did tell you my concerns, though, is I'm not sure about the distance yet with him getting that far. And then I looked Midnight Bourbon all on the trail, the Kentucky Derby trail this year. I don't like the fact that Paco Lopez is riding him. I like Paco as a jockey, but I think it's a downgrade from Irad, who had him in a hell of a position in the Preakness, actually taking the lead at one point there before succumbing to Rombauer's charge. But I agree with Sean also that the value here is on Midnight Bourbon at 9-2. We're not going to get anything out of Mandaloun or Hot Rod Charlie. We might see a little drift up on Following the Sea, but if we can get 9-2 on Midnight Bourbon, he definitely is one you want to use underneath. And I'm going to be keying Hot Rod Charlie here, probably in the first spot and maybe the second spot here with these other 3 horses. But that's going to be your superfecta there. In some order is 4, 3, 1, 6.
And they're all going to go off at even money. Okay, very good there. We got, there it is, the Haskell Stakes there, guys. Some big name horses, a lot of runner-ups. And again, this race is going to go a long way into helping us learn that maybe this 3-year-old crop wasn't as bad as we think they are. Maybe when you got 3 runner-ups here, Sig, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, because in a lot of people's mind, they think these 3, they could be just a cut above the rest anyway. So we'll see what happens at the Haskell. I do want to let you guys know, of course, that Sig has his daily racing reports ready to go. $9 a day. All you got to do daily by 9 a.m., guys, is head over to wt.buzz/Sig. These reports each and every race day by 9 a.m. Eastern time available to you. You can go ahead, $99, grab a 30-day package, get every racing report, never have to worry about it, delivered to you by 9 a.m. Eastern time on race days. Plenty of great racing now. As they told you, Saratoga is now open. Marco with that emergency chicken wing meeting at Del Mar that he had to go to right now. So there's a lot of great racing. This is going to be a fun race tomorrow, the Haskell. So make sure you head over to WagerTalk.com and visit Sig's page. Go ahead and lock yourself up 30 days of his daily racing report. Sean Alvarez at Smooth Turn 2. Would encourage you guys to make sure you're following him up on Twitter. Always a great follow. Sean, appreciate the time, my friend, for filling in for Marco. Certainly wish you the best here coming up over the weekend. And Sig, we'll talk to you again next week. It depends if Marco comes back. He doesn't come back. Who knows? We'll see if he just doesn't permanently stay at Del Mar. We'll see what happens. But on behalf of Sean and Sig, guys, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Make sure you come back and join us again next week for another edition of Pony Pundits. In the meantime, best of luck with your plays this weekend, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
How much do you want to pay for the NFL and college football season? You decide how much you want to save. Right now, WagerTalk is offering their lowest price for the 2021 NFL and college football seasons. From now through the start of the regular season, we are offering special early bird pricing, but these prices will increase by $20 per sport and $30 for the college football and NFL combo every week until the season kicks off. Save up to $200 this week by buying your favorite WagerTalk capper for the package, and remember, the longer you wait, the less you save.